Okay, Neil, radio check.
Australian V8 supercars are potent racing weapons, but this racing car has 50% more power, 50% less weight, twice the acceleration and 3 times the braking performance compared with my Coca-Cola Racing Holden Commodore. Drive a standard Honda Accord absolutely flat out, and by comparison, the IndyCar can whistle by, lapping the road car every 3 laps.
Copy, yes, you will feel the bumps a lot more than IndyCar.
Gingerman Raceway Southaven sits near the shores of Lake Michigan. It's an 11-turn, 3-kilometre road course. Bumpy and twisty, it's an ideal test track and safe rookie turf. Autumn can be cold in Michigan, add some wind chill from the nearby lake, and on this day, it's downright freezing. Today, regular driver Adrian Fernandez is elsewhere, keeping warm on PR duty. I'm doing the driving. Maintaining and operating an IndyCar is, to most of us, weird science. Fractions of millimetre adjustments can mean the difference between victory and, well, merely finishing.
More because it's very cold, just try and keep the heat in the engine.
Diane Hull chief engineers the Adrian Fernandez car. Formerly a Formula One engineer with Ferrari and Benetton, Diane is responsible for technically directing the driver and crew on all performance aspects of this $800,000 machine. Hull has a degree in engineering and intimately understands this car and race vehicle dynamics. Adjusting the car and interpreting its changing needs week to week requires enormous skill and experience. There's much to learn.
Basic setup is a Toronto type car. The track's very similar. It's slower than a Toronto. So, but the baseline is a Toronto setup. So it's a known setup which we've run. The springs and shock absorbers are basically what we ran at Toronto. Very close. Gear ratios, we've not been here before. We've not run an IndyCar here. So the gear ratios we've basically guessed. And we'll just have to work with those and see if we need to change them, we can go ahead and do that. Aerodynamically, the car is very similar also to what we've run before, but I'm going to take a little bit of the front wing out just so that we know we have an understeering car until you get used to it.
The crew checks and rechecks the setup, making minute adjustments. This type of thoroughbred car is super sensitive. The cars only run when everything is 100% perfect in terms of setup and safety.
Well, I'm quite apprehensive, obviously, at the moment because it's such a whole different deal. It's a different track. It's a totally different type of car. It's cold, and there's a much higher level of technology and measurement and all sorts of things going on. So it's apprehensive and very interested to see what it's going to be like. Get with Robbie and work with him on that.
Okay, Neil, radio check. Have to pull the left-hand lever on the steering wheel.
Yeah, loud and clear. Can you hear me? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Yeah, the problem is the Australian accent, but it's okay. I mean, the most important thing is the temperature's dropped again since this morning. It's like now 49. So you have to be very, very careful with these tyres when you first go out. Just going to take a few laps for them to come up to temperature. Obviously, you're just going to go out and come straight back in. So once we've done that leak check, when you go out and start getting up to speed, you'll be able to bed the brakes in, okay?
On cold, shiny green tyres under a dull grey sky with cold air and track temperatures, the car is so slippery to drive, it feels dreadful. But there's no turning back, and the installation lap is completed, and I return for further checks. To begin to understand IndyCar performance and the Honda Indy V8 power output, the weight and power figures need to be put into perspective. All up, an IndyCar weighs around 700 kilograms. Your typical medium-sized sedan, like the Honda Accord, weighs in at around 1,200. Larger family sedans tip the scales at 1,400 to 1,500 kilograms. Talking power, the Honda Accord produces about 108 kilowatts or 145 brake horsepower in the old language. Honda Indy V8 belts out 670 kilowatts, that's 900 horsepower. In simple terms, that's over 6 times the power and about 40% less weight. In the car, it equates to the wildest of roller coaster rides. Even on this track, the cornering forces represent load that is 2.5 times greater than normal. That makes me 190 kilograms mid-corner. But these forces are nothing when compared with super speedways, where the regular drivers experience 4.5 Gs. Compare the race car and the road car, and the performance of these 900 brake horsepower vehicles starts to hit home. This is a weapon you sit in rather than fire. In power, grip and braking, the feelings and forces rippling back through the body are phenomenal. The speed and load generated literally takes your breath away. With the Honda screaming at over 13,000 RPM, the other outstanding performance feature is the brakes. Slowing the car from 250 kilometres an hour to 115 kilometres an hour for the final turn takes just 80 metres, the length of 4 cricket pitches. Less than half the distance required to stop the Coke Commodore from the same speed.
What was that like? Well, it's amazing. Tremendous opportunity to learn about a very, very exotic race car. You have a preconceived notion of what it's going to be like to drive it, and it was all that and more. Every aspect of the car, the engine performance, there's so much power, and it's so unbelievably smooth. Typically with a turbo car, you get an enormous step as you jump on the power, but with the Honda Indy V8, it's just brilliant. And I can only imagine what these cars are like when the guys take them to the super speedways and those places. I mean, seriously brave.
Apart from being blown away by the outstanding performance, driving the car has also heightened my appreciation and respect for all the teams and drivers.
And Fernandez, teammates.
Tasman Motorsports Group and their drivers, partners, crew and suppliers are hungry for success this year. But it won't be easy. The competition is tougher than ever.
This is exciting. Team pride on the line.
IndyCar racing is mega competitive. The blend between cost, technology and entertainment making it more popular than at any other time. There are more teams, more drivers, more sponsors, bigger budgets and greater efforts. In 1997, the IndyCar World Series travels to 17 different locations across America, Canada, Brazil and of course Australia. Jam-packed grids and standing room only are commonplace. And the show in 1997 brings new challenges. Power and downforce have been reduced and the teams must do more with less in terms of fuel economy. Honda faces an escalating battle with Mercedes-Benz, Ford and Toyota.
Toyota definitely has the expertise and the resources at hand to do that, and we do expect that. Toyota really has never been involved in this class or this level of open-wheel racing. They've never done Formula One and, of course, IndyCar, but they'll get it right.
Regular chassis suppliers Lola and Reynard will come under pressure from newcomers Swift, who are teaming with Carl Haas, and former champ Michael Andretti, and a revitalised and hungry Penske operation. The battle also resumes between Firestone and Goodyear. As Indy Carnival on the Gold Coast approaches once more, that intoxicating combination of speed, glamour, technology and entertainment will provide another outstanding week of excitement.